So I want to make a video on surrendering, right? Surrendering your promise to God, surrendering your person to God. If, you're praying for somebody, even if it's a marriage promise, a ministry promise, a business promise, or whatever it is that God has spoken to you about, and he told you that this shall be because it shall, right? But surrendering that to him, because I feel like a lot of people, myself included, okay, have struggled with surrendering. I didn't even really realize what surrendering was until I really started to sit with God about it, because I thought that I had surrendered things. And there were certain things that I had like a partial surrenderance, okay? But it wasn't really a full surrender. So I just wanted to touch on a few things, and I just hope it helps somebody, okay? So surrendering is not something that you do one time and that's it, okay? This isn't like your salvation, baby. Surrenderance is something that you have to do consistently, okay? Because you're going to have days where you feel like you have surrendered it to God, and then the next day, baby, you realize that you truly haven't, okay? God will keep inviting us into deeper levels of surrenderance, okay? If surrender feels uncomfortable, right, that's usually a sign that God is healing something, all right? I'm trying to tell y'all, and I've told y'all before, God moves in uncomfortability, okay? He will have you in uncomfortable seasons, uncomfortable situations. It's going to be uncomfortable because a lot of the work that God does in you happens in uncomfortable situations, okay? Many people think they are surrendered, but they're truly just exhausted, okay? This was me. I could have sworn up and down I had surrendered it. What it really was, I was exhausted, okay? And exhaustion will look like, you know what, Lord, I don't even care anymore, really. Like, you got it, Lord. This is yours. I'm not worried about it no more. When in all actuality, you are very much still worried about it, okay? But you have reached a level of exhaustion. You haven't given it over to God and is trusting God with it. You're just so exhausted from striving and trying to work for this promise, even though it's already yours, right? That you've become exhausted. Surrendering is not pretending that you don't care. The examples I just gave earlier. You know what, Lord? I ain't worried about it. I don't even care no more. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. That's not surrenderance, okay? Not suppressing your emotions, okay? This is something that I've struggled with myself, y'all. Not spiritual numbness. Again, hello, I'm getting called out, okay? Not passivity or people pleasing, right? God doesn't heal by making us cold. He heals us by teaching us to trust. So surrender is choosing trust over control, okay? And that is a hard thing to do, y'all. It's a hard thing to do, to relinquish control to God. And I've told you guys before, because it will bring on spiritual warfare. I told you guys, Satan wants us to be in control, right? He wants us to feel like we're in control of our lives and that we don't need God. That's the biggest thing. He does not want us to depend on God. But when we surrender and we relinquish control and give it to God, that's what we're doing, right? We're saying, your will be done, Lord. Not my will, but your will be done. What do you need me to? Satan don't like that. He wants you to feel like you are your own God. I've told you guys this so many times. Obedience, even when emotions are loud. Come on now. Letting God be the source of security, okay? Releasing outcomes, timelines, and expectations. Resting instead of striving. And your identity is rooted in God, not people. I've touched on this recently as well. Surrendering feels hard because going back to control, right? The control you thought you had, you use it as a means to protect yourself, right? So when you're relinquishing control, now you feel vulnerable. Now you feel exposed, right? Because you're not trying to control your own life. You're giving it to the Lord, right? Trauma taught you to stay alert. Come on now, hyper independence, right? Or hyper something like that. Inconsistency created fear of loss, right? Performance felt safer than rest. Control is a coping mechanism, okay? What was once protected you can start to imprison you. I talked about that before. God doesn't shame the grip. He invites rest. Some things that God wants you to surrender, right? Especially like on the marriage journey, but just in life in general, okay? And it's not always the person or the promise, okay? Sometimes it's not the person or the promise, y'all. It's what you guys, it's what we're doing. I'm gonna say weird because I'm guilty of this too, but it's just how I talk sometimes. What we're doing is in the wait, we are low-key striving. We're stressing ourselves out. We're oh my gosh, like what's going on, Lord? When you know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to be doing that, right? And that's not releasing the person or the promise. It's releasing the emotions and the feelings and the striving that we have tied to this promise. You're holding it, right? Timelines, expectations, the need for reassurance, need to feel chosen or to feel secure, and fear of losing control. A lot of these things, y'all, pertain more to me because this is things that like I'm struggling with it. Either way, it still applies, okay? The need for reassurance is huge. And this is something, even in the last video I posted, that God is showing me that I am like essentially chasing the reassurance. And you have to be, God wants to get you to a point where you are secure, okay? You in a secure attachment, okay? If you are anything other than secure, you have an unhealthy attachment wound. And one of the unhealthy like triggers or whatever when it comes to unhealthy attachments is needing reassurance, right? Because even with your relationship with God, you're not always going to feel God. You're not always going to feel him, okay? But what are you going to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? But your faith still remains the same with the Lord, whether you feel him or not, because again, it's not based on feelings, it's based on faith. But even with your person, if you are seeking reassurance with your person, if you are trying to get reassurance from them, that's an issue within yourself, okay? That's something that God needs to heal within you, because you should never try and seek reassurance from anybody, okay? So first and foremost, identify the grip. What is gripping you right now, right? What are you afraid will happen if you let go? Surrender the emotion, not just the situation, right? So that fear, anxiety, insecurity, abandonment, you know what I'm saying? And like, for example, like, God, I surrender my fear of X, Y, and Z. Stop using people as your regulator. Okay, this is kind of going back to the reassurance thing, right? Reassurance seeking versus God seeking. Sit with that discomfort. Sit with that discomfort that you're feeling instead of trying to seek the reassurance, right? Let God soothe instead of reacting. Discomfort does not mean that you're in danger, but it does feel like that. Obedience without reassurance, okay? Obey before you feel secure. Trust without needing the full picture. That's kind of like pretty much what we did when we gave God our yes regarding the marriage journey specifically, because we had no idea what was to come. We just gave God our yes because we were trusting him without seeing the full picture. And what surrender can produce, right? Peace not dependent on people. Your peace, just like I said earlier in yesterday's video that I posted, y'all, your peace should not rise or fall based on man, right? So peace not dependent on people. Freedom from striving. Okay, you don't have to work for this promise. A lot of people feel like they're not doing enough. Oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm doing too much. Or Satan is getting in your head about that. This promise is already yours. You don't have to work for it. Okay. Emotional stability, healthier relationships, clearer discernment, deeper intimacy with God, right? And when God becomes the source, people stop becoming the burden. God is not asking you to lose yourself. Okay. He's asking you to trust him with yourself. And what you release, it doesn't disappear. It gets redeemed. Okay. So part of that surrendering is trusting in the Lord. Okay. Despite what you see, despite what you don't see, despite the unknown, despite the uncertainty, which I know is scary. Okay. I know it's scary, but you can trust God. Out of all people, above or below, the Lord is the one that you can trust.